met Mark Sanders with his brother Paul, I believe, at a gentleman's evening in Sutton Coldfield.
That is exactly right, there. I think it was at the Pens Hall Hotel.
I think we were introduced by the RHA solicitor, none other than Mr. Martin Jones.
That was right, Martin.
Yes, and that's, I think, how we first met. And how many years ago was that?
I was thinking about that earlier.
Yeah, go on.
I think it was sort of in the 80s or so.
It was in the 80s.
I would say
85-ish, I think.
84, 85.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I had it around 85. So that's only, how many years is that? 40 years?
Yes.
That's not long.
It is 40 years.
It is 40 years.
I'm sure it is.
And how old were you then?
I was
29 or something, or 28?
Let me tell you, but I will say I was 22 at the time.
22, there you go.
22, 23, I reckon that was.
Yeah, that would have been about right, yeah. And what were you doing with your life at that time?
I was working in the Allports garages business in Sutton Coldfield.
And where was that?
In Sutton Coldfield.
Next to the railway station?
In the centre of Sutton Coldfield. It was the old site that the family business had operated from since 1876.
Tell us about the family business, because I met great granddad, didn't I? Oh, your granddad.
You met granddad, yeah.
Yes, and
Bob
was in his 90s.
He was.
So Bob Allport...
Not then, but soon after.
So, did Bob Allport found the business?
No, his father did.
Oh, my God.
And prior to that, his grandfather also had a form of business. That was 1876.
1876? Just after the War of Independence, 100 years.
I guess so. I'm not sure they were involved with that, but it was certainly around that time.
What was the business, the Allports?
So it was basically horse and cart,
yeah.
Taxi, because we were next door to the railway station, hence Station Street.
Yes.
Where the business was based. And that was how the business started. Horse and cart, taxi, basically, from the station
for their
into town.
Or
baggage, or just into town for shopping, or taking people to meetings, or whatever it might have been. Right. But it was essentially
not carrying goods as such.
And then it developed into carrying goods, and particularly coal and fuels.
Right, that's where it started. Rail.
I guess there's some of that.
And that was in 1876 that started?
Yes, and that was horse and cart. And then it was after the war.
Which war?
It's a good question.
Must have been the First World War, possibly?
I'm going to say that the business really started to flourish after the Second World War, where my grandfather got involved in buying ex-army stock of trucks.
Right.
And they bought those vehicles and started doing a lot more coal. And that's how the original business, W. Allport and Son Limited, developed into what we see as a modern.
But you weren't delivering business. Coal to people's houses. You were delivering on haulage or what?
All sorts, Louis, to all aspects of coal. And I remember my grandfather was very involved with that, and literally at the coalface, loading the bags and delivering them either in bulk or in smaller consignments to people's houses or businesses.
And that was Bob Allport's grandfather?
No, that was Bob. Bob was doing that.
No, but he started the business in 1876.
It would be his grandfather. I think Paul and I are fifth generation. I think that's what we've worked it out to. And then in 1959, Allports Garages Limited was started, which was the business created by our father, Peter.
Yes.
When he married our mum. So Allports is mum's maiden name.
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from, even though we're Sanders.
Yes.
And he started that business in Station Street when transport was under the potential
by the government.
Well, it was under the potential of being nationalised.
Yeah.
So it was seen as an alternative type of business. I don't think that ever happened in the end.
I think there was National Roadways, as I recall.
It was the old BRS, wasn't it, back in the
British Road Services. Yes, it was.
Anyway, so that started there, and the haulage business flourished, and it relocated to Whitton, in Perrywell Road in Whitton. Used to do a lot of container work, ran about 100 tractor unit.
Wow.
And a few more trailers, and they had some other specialist contract vehicles. And then that's when we developed the truck business. I joined the business in not a couple of years prior to that, probably when I guess I was 19 probably at the time. So I would say 1980, 81.
Yeah.
Started working in the parts department.
I remember the parts
serving parts. And we developed that. And then worked in the workshops, running the workshop, developing the workshop. And then it was 86, the main haulage business closed. That's when Paul joined Sutton with another business that we had at that time called Weaver
Yeah,
Weaver 408. And we had 6 lorries when he came over.
I know, they're all Dodge Commandos.
They were, and three didn't have any engines in. We weren't in the best of places.
And you used to deliver copper and silver and stuff.
And then that's when we started to develop the transport business again. We had one customer.
Yeah.
And we developed that going forward, and that's around that time we kind of met you, really, I think.
Yeah, because I went to that tin shed that you had there.
That's right.
The garage, and you had all those pallets of copper. And
well, we sort of developed into that. Andy Lowe from AG Lowe and Son in Birmingham joined the business.
But where did
that's when we started doing the sort of metal out of EIP Metals in Birmingham.
Where did the Weaver name come from? Was that a name you bought or just came up?
That's a bit of a long story. It was a business that was operated in sort of Eachlehurst Road, Warmley, opposite Pipehays Park.
Yeah.
And the owner of that business sadly became blind and was unable to carry on running that business. Grandfather bought that business and sort of always kept it separate.
Right.
And it was a different sort of customer base, and I think they probably ran about 25 vehicles at that time. That's where Weaver 4 Oaks came from. Right. That's where that business was, and that's the business that came back to Sutton with Paul.
Because when I met you, Paul was running all the metal on the flatbeds.
That's right.
And the Dodge Commandos.
Exactly.
That. And then what happened? We moved to that new business park down the road, Kingsford Business Park. And then you came and rented a piece of us.
We did, at Lightning Dispatch. And it sort of goes back to a conversation we had that night at Penn's Hall, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
They don't seem to have those sort of dues anymore, do they?
There's no gentleman left.
Exactly. And that was when we started developing the sort of groupage concept, pulling loads together, because we were basically a full load business.
Yeah.
And that's when we ran out of sort of warehouse space or storage space. And I don't know whether you remember, we joined a parcel franchise called System 24.
I vaguely remember that, yes.
Back in the day, and that was our first foray into sort of last mile delivery, that kind of concept, delivering around.
System 24?
Yeah, it finished at some stage. I can't remember exactly why. We didn't carry on with parcels because we met you.
Yeah, I could see there was no money in it.
Well, I don't know about that. I think it went okay.
And then I remember we had a customer at Lightning, and Steve Taylor worked there, who's been back involved with his business.
Yeah.
And it was Ramus Tiles.
Yes.
And we used their pallet tiles, and we started a business called Day to Day. Do you remember?
I do.
And it was Day to Day, one of the early pallet networks, wasn't it? And because you then took it forward, we went and developed the parcels through XTP, and you and Paul took it to Weaver Pallet Express.
We did take it to Weaver Pallet Express, which was a pallet network.
And it became a national network.
It did become a national network with about 80 partner members.
And when you did that, there was probably only one or two other pallet networks, or not at the time.
I think at the time there was Pallet Ways, Pallet Line.
Yeah, I think that was about it.
But
it's a fairly new concept.
Yeah, it was a new concept, and it was pretty dynamic. And we moved from
Unit 38,
Minworth to
Bradley.
No, we went. Unit 38 at Minworth.
Yeah.
Was when you sort of set up XTP.
Yeah, I set up XTP there.
And we shared those 2 units there for a while. That
we
was
upset all the neighbours, and we had too many vehicles everywhere.
And we developed those businesses quite well. And I think, where did you go after that? You went to your own
And then
site.
I went to a place around the corner at Minworth. Graham Skinner, who ran that white goods, I used his warehouse because it wasn't being used. You remember during the night?
Yeah.
What was it called, that company?
I can't remember.
But so it was a big warehouse, loads of doors, and he used to do white goods into new building sites, and they were struggling. So I rented for something like 90 grand a year.
Yeah.
And used it only at night. So he had it in a big yard, and then from there, I ended up coming to one of the units where we are now. And you went.
So you went from there to Fairview to here.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. What a success that's been.
Well, Fairview's been good because we only came in with one unit, didn't we?
That's right.
So it was
and developed it from there. Really. Ended up buying it all.
Yeah, but it like a game of Monopoly. And then I put hotels on it.
Exactly. And
you went to Fradley.
We did. We moved to Fradley.
And you bought that place there. What was that you bought that place? What was it originally?
It was a freight terminal for an international haulage business.
Right.
And it had been derelict for a number of years.
Yeah.
And we managed to buy that.
And then Fradley was a place that no one wanted to go to.
Well, it was the end of a lane. It was very agricultural. There was no street lights. There was no lines down the middle of the road. Whereas you look at what Fradley Park has become today, it's a major distribution hub. And
you outgrew that, and you took the cattle. Was it the cattle auction?
We took the cattle auction
which was across the road.
Yeah, and we converted that into a.
And how many acres was it? It was a fair few acres, wasn't it? Reasonable size.
It must have been 15 acres, probably. It was a massive size. It was at least double what we were at Fradley. 10 to 15, probably, I would say.
And that's where you developed, and that's Andy Lowe was the hub manager. He was running the Weaver Pallet Express.
Yeah, and that's when that business really started to take off. And it was growing really fast. I mean, we grew at about 30% per year in that business. And we had a lot of growth attached around that for the vehicle rental.
And Simon Haysgrove was your national operations manager.
He still knows to this day. He's still in the business and doing very well.
Then you had an opportunity, you were approached, and you sold it to what was then
Business Post,
or UK Mail,
which became then UK Mail.
UK Mail, then became DHL.
And that was in 2003.
Yeah. Was it that long ago, 2003?
It was. And that carried on for, I think, about 10 years. But I think the mail business
took off.
In Business Post really became their complete focus.
It did. Yeah.
You know, we learned a lot in that time. Because
you worked there, didn't you?
Well, we did, yeah. I mean, I was there for about 18 months. Paul was there for about 3 years. It was meant to be 6 months and 12 months. But it was a good experience for us, in as much as we'd only ever worked for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we were suddenly working with this PLC, and we had all that went with that. Some of it we found quite hard to adjust to. But one thing's for sure, we learned a lot during that period of time. And I think that helped us in further developing the business we have today, which is Allports Group.
And when you finished at Business Post and finished your workouts, Fradley became, the cattle market went with UK Mail, but the original site became, is that when you came up with the name CV Rentals?
Yes. So CV rental, we did vehicle rental in Weaver Four Oaks Limited.
Yes, but the new name was CV.
The Business Post, they didn't want that aspect of the business, so that was transferred out, if you like, and that became Commercial Vehicle Rental Limited.
And that's what CV stands for.
That's what we carried on into the Allports Group.
Yeah.
And of course, we were doing a lot of business with you around that time on vehicle rental.
Yeah.
And others, and that business has continued to grow. So we have an operation that operates around 1,300 assets, vehicles, trailers, some LCV like commercial vehicles, all over the country today. So,
and you have another site in Stoke.
And then we have the Allports Renault Trucks distributor business based at Lichfield. So we are the Renault Trucks distributor for Staffordshire, and we have that. The site in Lichfield, and we have another site in Stoke-on-Trent, which we took on, I think, in 2008. Yeah. We took that on, and then that's developed into a thriving sort of repair workshop, parts, after-sales centre. And we're now developing the Stoke area quite well. So
and you've just doubled the size of your site in Fradley.
We have
that site there.
We have. So that was just before COVID. We agreed to buy that site, so we actually completed it during COVID, and that doubled the size. So we've got a 10-acre site at Fradley Park in Lichfield now, which is obviously a completely different place to the one we moved into. The
reason I think the Allport business has been very successful, I think the format was really good, because when I first started contracting hiring vehicles from me, you remember the conversation I had when I hired them. I said it was great because they were worn out when they were delivered.
Yes, exactly.
So that when it came to handing them back, I obviously had to pay to make them like new vehicles again. Is that correct?
Exactly. No, I think we've worked together a long time. I mean, you've seen your business change and develop an awful lot during that time.
Well, we've stopped having as many contract hire vehicles now, and I learned a lesson from a company called TLS in Manchester. I think I told you that.
Yes, that's right.
When you oft-hired a vehicle, they tried to, you have it for 5 years, they tried to get it put back to new.
Yeah.
Fortunately, our relationship with Allport CV Rentals we've always been able to come to an amicable arrangement. So we've never really had any problems.
So objective is to provide our customers solutions.
Yes.
Anybody can provide vehicles.
Yeah.
It's about what do those vehicles do, how do they operate, and how do they work to be a benefit to your business. And that doesn't just involve the vehicles, it involves how we manage all aspects of servicing, supporting.
And what a great job you've done by opening the
that's very kind of you, Lou.
The VMU.
Yes, well, that's another thing that I'd like to talk about. But just going back to what you were sort of alluding to there was that what we aim to do, any product that we sell, van, truck or trailer, is available to buy, lease, contract hire or rent.
Yeah.
So
all the options.
We have many long-standing customers who, from time to time, use all of those sort of options. They will go for long-term contract hire. They will rent short-term for peaks in business, and that's what we're here to provide our customers. And XTP is a fantastic example of a long-term relationship where our services and products have been able to support the growth and development that you've seen in your business.
Yes.
And we've been able to tailor the acquisition of those vehicles.
I do remember giving you a call probably a Christmas Eve.
And you always drive a hard bargain, right?
Yeah, and I wanted we need a tractor unit. You took one off the forecourt.
Oh, we did.
For me. You did. I remember that. You see, and that's the sort of service you can't buy.
So I think we are a service-based business.
Yes,
I think that's what we try and do. And I think we try and stick with our customers through thick and thin. And we try and work with our customers. And actually, the vehicle returns are a great example of that.
Yes.
Because, yes, there's the rules, but you and I talk to each other. And I think we both accept that we've got circumstances to deal with.
I'm really a rule breaker and you're a rule taker, isn't it? I think that's what it is. Or is it the wrong way around?
Yeah, you're a rule maker. You're the rule maker, aren't you?
Breaker.
I'm the rule breaker. I don't know. Look. But what I do know is we've worked together over the years and we've always found a common ground.
Yes, we've had unfortunate incidents and we all go.
We've had lots of unfortunate incidents because that's what happens when you've been working together for over 30 years.
Yes.
But it's how you manage that that's important, and it's how you retain that relationship of trust.
Yeah.
That you're going to work together and create.
Because we've both had personnel come and go.
We have.
Haven't we? And the muddy waters in some
various phases. I think like you're still quite close to the business.
Yeah.
Certainly in terms of understanding what the requirements are and how that works and what the right things to do are. And I like to think that Paul and I are the same, you know, that we very much are in touch with what our team needs to provide our customers with great service.
Yeah. And I think that some of the lessons that perhaps I've learned from your business is that your flexibility when dealing with customers. And we've tried to, as you know, our strapline, versatility and logistics, and we say we are now flexible. I think you have helped me in that way understand the flexibility. As you say, you rent, you purchase, you buy.
Your business is very dynamic, Lou. It's very dynamic business in terms of, you know, you get new contracts that they start quickly for whatever reason. I mean, COVID's a great example, isn't it?
Oh.
I mean, what a boom for your business that created because people couldn't go to the shops at all. Everyone was buying online. Massive demand for extra vehicles, extra staff, and we were there to help support that. And
you had your own issues trying to get enough fitters and enough people.
Well, like you, we were regarded
as parts, weren't you?
Yeah, and we were regarded as an essential business because obviously vehicles had to keep delivering, and vehicles need repairing, and they need servicing, and they need maintaining. So, you know, that was an exciting time for the business, and I think a lot of opportunity for all businesses in the distribution logistics sector at that time because demand increased.
Yes.
Obviously a difficult time for the country and a lot of personal difficulties for people. As a country, we got through that, and certainly as a business, we did.
I think we're still recovering from it, to be honest with you. I think there's still some work practices that
I think there's still
come back to where they were pre-COVID.
It's still adjusting from that. It still affects the marketplace that we're in at the moment. You know, there was a
big shortage of vehicles.
Big shortage of new vehicles availability because of the raw material problems.
Yeah.
Because of the factories being closed and all the rest of it. So then a big demand came across, and I think the market is now settling into a more normal cycle. Right. There is still hangover from some of the disruption that COVID caused for both our customers and ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think we're all adjusting to that.
And then, of course, if you think of for Ineos and their wonderful vehicle, the Grenadier, they can't produce anymore because was it Carling who make the seats?
Right.
Have got financial issues or something?
Recaro, is it?
Yeah, Ricardo, that's it. Ricardo, yeah. So they've got a problem with seats and designed the whole platform to take this type of seat.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, you know...
And that's in France. That's made in France.
But he's more interested in Manchester United now, Jim Ratcliffe.
Yes, he is. He seems to be.
Yeah.
So that's just
playing football there.
On personal things... Oh, yeah. I was lucky enough to get invited to a wonderful wedding. I'd never been to a wedding at Kew Gardens before.
Right.
And that was a superb wedding.
I knew you'd like it there.
I loved it there. And I loved the Aussie contingent of 40-odd people.
So that was my eldest daughter, Josephine, who you know well.
And Mark's got Josephine and G, and his son, Johnny. And Johnny's not in the business at the moment, is he? He's working away overseas.
He's working in a boatyard. He's a yacht broker. Yeah, so he did some time out on the as a super yacht deckhand.
Yeah,
learned the ropes. That he went to the Isle of Wight for a month and did all his certificates. And now he's working for a well-established boatyard. They're agents for Fairline boats, and he's getting involved with all of that.
Great.
And really enjoying it, yeah.
Now, G, she works on boats, doesn't she?
She does. Her partner, Josh, is the captain of a 90-foot oyster sailing boat.
Yes, which is a beautiful looking boat.
It's an amazing boat. Yeah.
And where in the world are they at the moment?
And they actually crossed the Atlantic in November last year. And Jonathan went with them.
Yes.
That was an amazing experience.
I remember you showed me some of the clips.
They sailed from Gran Canaria out to...
Madeira, they're over to Bermuda.
Caribbean.
Yeah, that was the Caribbean. Bermuda's the first point, then you get around that Caribbean.
The name escapes me.
Antigua,
that's exactly where they went there. Yeah, lovely. Here we go with that.
Yeah. How nice.
Yeah, he's done that, so we'll see where that goes. But... he's enjoying it. He's 20 years old. So he's getting out and getting a bit of experience.
And the next real big event for you will be when you become a grandfather, I presume.
Well, obviously Josephine married William, so we don't know. They have not confirmed their plans, but that would be a great thing, for sure.
And,
something I
and Josephine works
one day. I don't want to put any pressure on.
She lives in Clapham.
She does. With her Australian husband, William.
Has she started her own business?
She has.
Oh, she has. I know that was in the pipeline.
She has started her own business with a colleague, Jag Talent.
Right.
And they are a specialist recruitment business supplying financial people into the media sector.
Right. And that's going well?
Yeah, it's early days.
Yeah.
But I think
when did they
they're
start?
up and running. They started earlier this year, sort of in the summer.
I know you did say it was going to come along. Isn't that good?
Very good indeed.
So, chip off the old block.
Yeah, well, we'll see, won't we? But I think she's enjoying the challenge. It's different things. She's quite entrepreneurial, so I hope she enjoys it.
And Mark's still got his mum. Mum's still around, isn't she?
Yes, Mum is 87, doing well.
Is she?
Yeah, she's all right. Thank you very much, Louie.
Yeah,
she often asks after you.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady.
Yeah, so
So we're doing something right. Your mum's 87, my dad's 96 and still here, so that's amazing.
Very good, yeah. I mean, the inflationary challenge on our sector is very...
challenging.
It's very challenging in terms of, a lot of the national minimum wage has increased. We've got this increase in NI now.
Yeah.
I think that the cost of vehicles, the inflation that we've seen and the increase in prices, and we work with you on that to limit that impact on your business. But there's still a way forward.
Yeah, what it is.
And it's just looking for that, and it's trying to work together to...
facilitate growth.
Yeah, to come up with the right solution. And that's what we try and do as a business. Now, I know, Louis, that you're very interested in sustainability.
Well, sustainability, my own sustainability.
Yes, exactly.
Not anybody else's.
But, we are now in the age of electric vehicles. We are selling electric vehicles.
As I just said to you, I've just finished reading Elon Musk's book.
Yes, very good. So there's some significant developments happening right now on electric vehicles, and there is a good commercial argument for taking on electric vehicles. So, for instance, our new Renault Master 4, which is due into the UK anytime just before Christmas, our new electric Master 3.5 ton vehicle will have a range of about 280 miles.
Really?
And that's a game changer, really.
It is.
Because the range available on previous vehicles, you were probably looking at maybe 15% of the market that could work with that range effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And the vehicles that we've sold, the electrical vehicles that we've sold, have gone well. Customers like them, drivers like them, and obviously they're zero emission. So they're great for the carbon agenda.
I was well into electric vehicles in the late 60s and early 70s.
Yeah.
Mine all had Unigate written on them.
But I think the range that's now available for back-to-base operation, I think it probably opens up about 70-80% of the market.
Well,
so we're expecting to see quite a development in that area.
Round all of, not name dropping, Tahiti, all the vehicles are electric. And on the hotel resorts, because noise and emissions, the busy island.
So,
and they were Renaults.
Because
of course it's a French.
It's a developing situation. And, there was the movement from 2030 to 2035. But the manufacturers have put all their R&D into electric vehicles. That's what all the new models are going to be about.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming down the line now. And we're hopefully going to announce this week quite a big deal for electric vehicles. Customers who, if all goes well, will be taking over 30 electric vehicles. And that has been insisted upon by their key customer.
Yeah.
That is part of
we're always keen to embrace new technology.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure the opportunity will come for us to trial those vehicles, and particularly in London, where the commercial advantage is really starting to show now.
Yes. It's great to have you in here on the Lost Parcel, Mark.
It's great to be here, Louis. Thank you.
But the big question is, if you had to put something in the Lost Parcel, what would you like to lose?
Well, that's interesting. I guess if it's a physical item, I'd probably like to lose my packet of cigarettes, because that would mean then that I don't smoke. So that's probably something I'd like to do.
That's probably very sensible.
So I'm working on that.
Advice. Oh, well done.
That's probably what I'd like to see your van pick up from me and lose.
And lose. Yeah. We're going to lose things.
Oh, well, I'm sure you don't. All right. No, it's been great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. It's been great.